So we're looking at the best strikers in FC 25. We have gone in price order to kind of go through the players that I think are justified in their price. So there is some that won't be picked. Let me know down below if there's any strikers that I've missed out that you would prefer. Starting with almost a day one sort of striker. I think a lot of people start with Nunez. He, for me, is kind of that number one. He's an easy one to go to. He's quick, decent amount of shooting for an 82. You add a hunter or a finisher to him, you're absolutely laughing for 1,000 coins. He, for me, is one of the easiest day one strikers I want to try and get. Normally, at a max, it's like 5, 6k. You tend to pack him quite quickly, and he normally has a very good prospects for evolutions in the future. Now, whether we see any upgrade from him naturally, that will be an interesting one. But I think for me, he was always the best choice you could make from day one, without any SBCs, obviously. We then kind of move up a little bit. We have Openda. We also have Oshala. Again, very good in their own elements. We're looking more pace. The female NWSL star is incredibly quick. She's a great super sub for me right now, even with some better strikers in a much higher budget. She's great to bring on, get a bit of pace in, hit the ground running, because a lot of these players, especially at the start of the game, when I was looking at the absolute top of the top list, there's still so many players that you just would not be able to afford. So seeing this kind of lower list, and I'm like, well, we're only kind of in the middle at the moment, which is natural. We're only just hitting November. The game has barely been out a month. So it is an interesting to see from last year where we kind of like these lower tiers were very rarely hit. I reckon most of these strikers in the first two slides have got somebody's team in it. Obviously, then we got the Ukrainian striker. Nothing too crazy from him, but if you want a bit of splash of colour in your team, you want a different card rather than gold, 12,000 coins for him. He's got that ability. You whack a hunter on him, you're absolutely fine. Same with Ronaldo. Under 10,000 coins in the first month, which is just nuts. I really didn't think I'd see the day of Ronaldo being fodder at this point, but the Power Shot Plus is absolutely broken, so he's got a great demand on him right now. Granted, we will see eventually again another evolutions for a bit of pace for him, but the Power Shot is broken, so if you want to utilize him, he's definitely not the worst striker you could go with. We then kind of wrap up a little bit quicker. We got Belungun, we got Martinez, Peugeot with her Rapid Plus, obviously Martinez with Finesse Shot Plus, which is broken as well. Jackson as an inform for the Prem, relatively cheap, again like Nunez, looking in for that evolution potentially. We've got Tauram as one of the best strikers that we've got in the game from an SBC. Him, Danjuma, then his brother Tauram in the middle. Then we've got Varane at the back, we've also got Godfrey. We're going to get Di Lorenzo, I believe, another one coming in. And there's just so many you can go with, but a great striker you can get. And then also Keane, another very cheap option, gone with more pace, can upgrade as well. That's the big thing with Belungun and Keane, is they have got the factor they can get a double upgrade in from the free upgrades they can get, and also a Playstyle Plus if their team does manage to do well. Obviously Fiorentina probably have a little bit more chance than AS Monaco reaching that top 2, but it will be interesting to see who actually gets there. If you need coins in FC 25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game, 8 to 10% cheaper than any others, 8% off if you use the code JT11 at the end at checkout, plus you get 5% extra on coins, with the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC 25 creators such as Zorki, Manny Plus, and even pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. Now this is kind of where I assume a lot of people's teams are at the moment, maybe even one more give or take. We've got the Peugeot Inform, 25,000, just a single one upgrade, but not too much money, which is very nice. We have the two females from the Barclays Women's League. We have Sammy Kerr, very good 90, and Medema, nice UCL card with the potential to go up as well. Very nice to see in terms of them two quick strikers, can hit the ground running, both 4-4 as well. Just missing out a Playstyle Plus on Medema, but obviously the Finesse Plus on Sammy Kerr. We got a lot of the heroes. I must admit, heroes look better and better each time I see them because they obviously are one step ahead of a lot of the gold cards, and most definitely kind of coming to terms with it now with the UCL promo and also the Total Rush, but it's still a factor that a lot of these heroes are still so far clear in the moment. We've got a finesse shot with El Jabba, we've got a lovely power hit with Gomez, who is very similar to our man Cliver. Now, he's one that I personally have experienced, as he was my icon in the Max 87. Now, he's not a go out and buy must have in your team, but if you can kind of get to that end of the match, maybe you just need to nick a goal, bring on a quick step winger, get him in the box, whip it everywhere, and the power header does work very, very well. It's not quite broken as Aerial Plus, which we will see a striker with that, but it most definitely is a decent objective to try and get in the game. Danjuma, also the link from Tarim in terms of one of the best SBC strikers we've had so far. There isn't many in terms of price to proportion of what they actually give you on the pitch, but he's definitely one you should be looking at a minimum. Sesko with 70,000, again another chance for a double upgrade whether he does take it, but 6'5" on the ball, very quick, great shooting, especially if you're going to whack a hunter on him, and a little bit of dribbling to help once more. My first two strikers that I purchased that were my big purchases, we obviously had Haaland and also Griezmann. Now, Haaland definitely, for me, is losing a little bit of sting in his step. We did have to change him in the higher divisions as much as he is very good, and if you can utilize him well, especially like a build-up striker, somebody to pinpoint in the box, he's going to be fantastic at that, but I did like my finesses, and Griezmann does that to an absolute T, whereas Haaland's kind of more of your bully striker. So if you are looking for something kind of like a yin and yang for this, someone who's going to run through, somebody who's going to finesse through, them two are a great pairing to get together. Now we're up to kind of like the 100 to 200k mark at the moment. We've got these four down here. Now, they're kind of funny because I'm like, I don't personally, I wouldn't recommend them, like realistically. But at this point in the game, it's not as if they're awful. Unless you've got the absolute top of the top, I think they definitely fit. Like if you're rocking a Haaland and a Griezmann, maybe Griezmann does stay in, but you could definitely change a Haaland. The only thing that I really don't like with these is the playstyle pluses. I think you could get very similar but better playstyle pluses from some players. Power header again is quite nice, but Kluivert does it really well. Crespo, I can't imagine does it as well in my opinion. And the reason why we've got Ollie here is the finesse shot plus is a broken tactic, so I think he could suit definitely really well in the kind of middle of the attack. Whereas then we've got kind of a few more of the options. Watkins, I'm a big fan of. I think he's very good for a Prem striker. Papin with a power shot. Now, we know with Ronaldo, that is a crazy playstyle plus to have. Amongst the shooting, a little bit more on that pace, and a bit of dribbling. He, again, is going to be fantastic with his upgrades. We've got Ian Wright and Suker as kind of two of the better icons as such. Obviously, Ian Wright a little bit quicker, a little bit more on the shooting, but he's still only got that chip shot plus, whereas Suker does have the Travella plus, which is still very dangerous in and around the box. And Martinez, it's always a nice upgrade to have him. He's obviously gone from his gold 89 into the 90, still kept the finesse shot, got just a 1 upgrade on everything, and still absolutely rocks out. And as we kind of progress through these kind of top ranks, it's very self-explanatory with a lot of these strikers because literally you would be happy with any of them. I think Son, Smith and Morgan as the kind of more realistic goals at the moment are fantastic in their own element. Obviously Smith, Morgan, Swanson, Rodman can all link together and they definitely create that very nice and kind of fluid attack up front. Obviously Morgan being an SBC, you can get her relatively easy, as well as then doing the finesse shot plus is brilliant. Smith is just pure power going through. She is dynamite as always. Obviously, we're looking for a team of the year again if we can because she is just crazy once more on the game. Whereas when we look at the icons and heroes now, Morientes, I'm surprised isn't more because obviously the aerial plus is a massively broken tactic if you can. We've saw Virgil in the box for corners. He does not miss unless it's against Virgil. And if you can get a Morientes in there as well, if you've got Virgil and him, all up for the corners, you've got a very good chance of scoring, especially if you throw in the final aerial plus header guy. That's going to be an interesting one. Whereas Shevchenko with a power shot, Luis Hernandez was one of the ones that seemed to be very packed from the icon pack, which is definitely not a problem. And then you've got the likes of Michael Owen coming in quite expensive for a chip shot plus. And then we've got some heroes, obviously Enzo, Smolarek, Keane and Brolin, all having different playstyle pluses. Not necessarily the most meta ones, but I think at this point, like we said with previously, is they're already still so far ahead of gold cards, which is what they're made for. It'll be interesting after like Ultimate Dynasties where they sit there, because we are meant to be getting Ultimate Dynasty icons. Whether we get heroes as well, it will be very, very interesting. And as we move up one more, we're starting to hit the prices now where you've either packed them, or you are a trader, or you've just managed to literally just buy one so far, because we got some very good cards. Now, I don't think all of them are necessarily worth the price as of yet, so I would hold off for now. Closer obviously is coming in with the Aerial Plus. Apparently he is just absolutely smoked. He was extinct for the longest of time. But then you look, you've got Forlan at 540, you've got Govu at 580. Now, the Power Shot Plus is broken, so I can kind of understand where they're going with that. Van Persie with a first touch. As much as I do like Van Persie on the game, I probably wouldn't buy him for that much. I would definitely wait for another upgraded version of him, because I do think that will tail or tank the price a lot. We have Tevez and Voller as very much standard and studded heroes that are very good across the goal. Harry Kane with a lovely upgrade, a 15 pace from his gold card was fantastic to see with his UCL, and he still has the chance of a double upgrade. Like Alvarez as well, coming in just a little bit more, 200k on top, but has the chance to become a 92 with some very, very good stats. Kelly Smith has always been a very consistent icon, which I like. And then when we look at Lauan, I can't believe he's that much, to be honest. He's had a great pace as well. Obviously, he's got 5 more than Kane. He got a 10 pace in general upgrade, 90 on the shooting, 88 on the dribbling. He does look an absolute monstrous card. I'm just interested to see where he truly comes down to, because at least with Kane, he has got that ability to get to 93, whereas obviously with Lewandowski, he is stuck at that rating. But then the penultimate one, we are starting to see the million coin strikers. Now, I think everybody would be happy with any of these, from the informed Son, Griezmann Total Rush, to the very nice Ronaldo that we got. All of the icons are of a certain caliber, as we can imagine, and we are one step away from endgame strikers already. Like these are very good, but they definitely do get kind of cast aside eventually. Like Torres is the best one you could get out the Max 87 icon, so if you manage to get him, fantastic. Obviously with the Finesse Shot Plus as well. We have Raul with the same, Del P with the same, Zola with also the same, and then we've got the Power Shot boys in Drogba and Rooney, both having exceptional playstyle pluses. Gerd Muller with a finesse. Stoichkov, he is a right wing, left wing striker madness, and he has got the technical plus, but is still absolutely worth every penny, because realistically, there's not many that I see at this, even in champs, even in division rivals through rank 4, 3, 2 and 1. There's very few people with these sorts of levels of players, because they are going to drop down massively as we get into Black Friday. Which leads us to the best of the best. Now, obviously, Gold Mbappe's in here as well, but you can only pick one. But we've got the likes of Messi, Butra, Di Natale, Cantona and Dalglish just fitting on one team, because all of them, other than Messi, who's of course dropped down 40k since doing this, are all above 2 million coins. Now, to be fair, I must admit, this year, coins are still very hard to get, but they're not as hard to get, if you get what I mean. And millions upon millions, yes, that's still going to take you a lot of time, but I think to get your first million, it's really not that bad, especially if you are maintaining your coins, you're not blowing them on cards constantly and losing the 5% tax, doing all your rewards. It's very easy to gain coins this year, especially because we are getting some decent champs packs as well. In terms of the rest of the here, we've obviously got R9, who's extinct, 6 mil practically on Mbappe, nearly 6 mil on Cruyff, on Hullet, Hams at 7.3 this year, 4.5 for Eusebio, Obviously Henry comes in as well, and all of them have got their playstyle pluses that work really, really well, from the rapid to the quick step to the power shot to the aerial, and then obviously everything in between. But I think you would be happy with any of these. These are kind of the top of the top. It's what everybody wants, and it's going to be very hard to get. Like, Total Rush cards seem to be incredibly difficult to try and find, but I do think that would be the layer of where I'd go, from the kind of bottom end strikers all the way to the very top.